What's up, guys? Sam from the Footy Gods back again. We've seen the first round of preseason games. We're getting pretty close to the season now. We've got one more week of preseason games, and then we are right into round one in 2 weeks' time. So, really exciting. So, we thought after the first round of preseason games, we would go through and do a bit of a ranking where we're ranking each premium on each line. So, obviously, the top six with a few mentions. For the defenders today. We're going to go through the defenders today. So, like I said, I watched a lot of footy over the weekend, a lot to take out of it, and we're going to go through and rank our top six. So, the first three are pretty close, but I'm going to go Tom Stewart number one. He looked outstanding. Now, the reason I'm going Tom Stewart number one, you look at the averages from last year, 113.7 Sinclair, 113.5 for Sicily. But if we look a bit closer to Tom Stewart's year, okay? 2022, lowest score of 39. So let's take he only played 17 games. Obviously missed a few games with suspension, so it is a little bit skewed. But let's go. So what's his total score? So 1865 minus the 39. We'll take out his injury affected game. I believe it was concussion. Gives us 1826. So we'll take out 1826 divided by 16 because we're taking out a game. So actually, without the injury game, he's averaging 100. Yeah, he's more. This is more his truer average, 114, which would put him right at the top. So going on that, he's at the top. But just going on what I saw in the preseason last week, yeah, maybe biased, but he looked really good in the Geelong backline, doing exactly everything that he's been doing for the last few years. So I expect 110 plus from him again, and just got named vice captain. Should have a really good year. So right now he's my number one. Number two, Sicily. So very close between the two. Obviously a really good scoring pedigree. He looked really good on the weekend, James Sicily. There was a bit of a scare a couple of weeks ago. We sort of had a bit of an ankle niggle, but looked like he was not suffering any effects of that at all over the weekend. Looked great. Took a few kick-ins. Was the general down back. So it looks like another great pick this year. Number three, Jordan Dawson. So I was really impressed with what I saw from Jordan Dawson. It was a little bit concerning at times. He was being put up forward and these sort of things. So there's still a little question mark on his role. But gee, when he played at half back, he looked brilliant. So he has to be number three in my rankings. Copped a bit of a knee knock, but I think he's okay. It's just a bit of a stinger. So he's number three. Jack Sinclair, a bit of a forgotten man. The highest ranking defender from last year. There's been question marks over his role and the new coach in the team, but he looked brilliant on the weekend under Ross Lyon. Looked like he was playing a little bit more accountable to start with, but after the sort of first quarter, he got off the chain nicely and did a lot of really nice things. Looked like himself from last year, so he's got to make a showing in the top six here. So he's number four. Number five, Sam Docherty. So he wasn't overly impressive last week. He did have a midfield role, so that's something to keep an eye on. But he did enough. He did enough, even if he wasn't impressive. He did enough to be number five on our rankings here. So keep an eye on him. If he gets the midfield time, we know he can score well. So he's number five on our list. Number six on our list. I'll have to scroll down a little bit more for this one. Nick Dacos. Now, he looked brilliant on the weekend. He was in the midfield, stints at half back, just everywhere, all around the contest. So I really like him. I think he's going to be pushing for a top 6 to 10 defender this year. And right now, he's in my top 6 defenders. Because you can see that it's quite a drop-off. From the top 5, we've got quite a drop-off here. Shannon Hearn, Sard, Dale, Witherden. These are all, I'm not a huge fan of these guys. Angus Brayshaw, I don't mind him. But yeah, you can see quite a drop-off. I think Nick Dacos is looking better than all of them in the preseason so far. So he rounds out the top 6, current top 6 defenders. So there's a couple of mentions, like I said. This guy really impressed me on the weekend. Jordan Ridley. He was outstanding on the weekend for the Bombers. He looked like he was back intercepting, playing a bit more freer in the back line, and we know what he can do when he plays that role. Look how he started 2021. 125, 136, 147, 124. That's huge. So we know he can score really well. Ended the season 98.7, and we know he can average over 100, 102 basically in 2020. So he's got the scoring pedigree. So he looked really good on the weekend. He's one to obviously keep an eye on and think about putting in our teams. If we're trying to save a bit of cash, he's the guy. And another one I want to mention as well, Elliot Yeo. So we know he's got the defender status this year. Played midfield majority on the weekend in the Eagles match. Looked really good. Looked fit. Ran out the whole game. You know, did some really nice things. Had some stints off halfback. So he would have to be in calculations for a top 8 to top 10 defender. You know, we know what he can do. We've seen it before. 108, 107.5. So we know he can score really well. You know, those numbers would put him right in the mix as a top 6 defender. So there's definite huge upside, and he looked brilliant on the weekend. So he's in there at top 8. So a couple more I do want to mention. So Angus Brayshaw, he was one to watch. He looked okay. He had the halfback role, wasn't really playing much midfield. So he's still a decent option at 550k. Also, we want to look at Hayden Young. We know Hayden Young. Where is he? Hayden Young. He's not in this list because he didn't look good at all on the weekend. But we know what he can do. He's a young gun. So one to keep an eye on. And one other one that I do like in the top 8, Bailey Dale. I think he's got room for improvement. No one owns him, basically. 560k, he's one that I would consider putting in our team as a pod. He can score really well. But yeah, you can see the drop-off with the top 5. So that's our top 8 current defenders. Have we missed anyone? I don't think so. Let's look through and have a look. Andrew McGrath's one to think about, you know, from the Bombers playing half-back. But I think that pretty much rounds it out. There's not a lot of others that are sort of jumping out to me that can be a top 6 to 8 defender. So that's our current power rankings for the backline. Let us know if we got it right or wrong. Are you going to pick any of these guys? Leave a comment below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.